Good morning. So we'll continue the answers to university question December 2019. We have discussed the part A questions of dynamics. Now I am passing to the module 4 part B question carrying 14 marks, full length question. So question number 17, I will read it. An object of mass 5 kilogram is projected with a velocity 20 meter per second at an angle of 60 degrees to the horizontal. At the highest point of its path, the projectile explodes and breaks up into two fragments of masses 1 kilogram and 4 kilogram. The fragments separate horizontally after explosion. The explosion releases internal energy such that kinetic energy of the system at the highest point is doubled. Calculate the separation distance between two fragments when they reach ground. So this is not a direct question. This is a question, an application level question. Let us see what are the details given. We are given a projectile projected with a velocity 20 meter per second at 60 degrees to the horizontal, and when it reaches the highest point, it splits. At the highest point, it splits into two, 1 kilogram and 4 kilogram. Initially it was 5 kilogram, and after that explosion, the kinetic energy at this particular point, that becomes double. Kinetic energy increases at that particular point after explosion. Now asked to find out, say, when they are split up into two, 1 kilogram and 4 kilogram, the two particles will move in two different trajectory, or they will be having different paths. When they reach the ground, what is the distance between them? That is the question. So you want to find the distance of separation between the two particles if we could get the velocity at that particular time. So if you get the velocity when they hit the ground, make that as a hint. If you know the velocity, difference in velocity into time taken, that will give us the distance. So our aim is find out the velocity of the two particles when they hit the ground. Okay, with that idea we will start viewing the question. So let us start with this. When it reaches the highest point, all of us know in the case of projectile motion, please remember when a particle is projected like this component U has two components. If it is inclined at alpha, one component will be U cos alpha, the horizontal component of velocity, and the vertical component of velocity U sin alpha. This U cos alpha will remain same throughout the motion. So if you take any point here, it will be U cos alpha. If you take any point here, it will be U cos alpha. But the vertical velocity at each point, that will change. The vertical motion, the velocity at each point will change depending upon because of acceleration due to gravity. Due to the effect of gravity, vertical component of velocity changes from point to point. When it reaches the maximum height, at this maximum height point, the velocity will be only horizontal. That is what is written. At the highest point, the vertical component of velocity will be 0 and the particle will be having only horizontal velocity. So the horizontal velocity at that particular point is U cos alpha, U cos 60. So let me write the horizontal velocity at B is equal to U cos 60. U is 20 cos 60, it works out to 10. So the velocity is equal to 10 meter per second. Now let us apply. Let us see what is the time taken to reach that highest point. You have studied it in the projectile motion. When you start from here, when it reaches the top, the vertical velocity Vy is equal to 0 and V is equal to, we know V is equal to U sin alpha, initial velocity, upward motion, so minus gt. Therefore we will get this is equal to 0. The vertical velocity is 0 when it reaches B. So from that, U sin alpha minus gt is equal to 0. We get T is equal to U sin alpha by G. So the time taken to reach the highest point, we can write now. Time to reach maximum height T is equal to, using this expression, u sin alpha by g. U sin alpha by g. This is how we get it. Need not remember. Even if you don't remember this formula, we can directly write u sin alpha by g. So from that, u is equal to 10 sin alpha sin 60 divided by 9.8. So you will get the time as 1.77 second. So the particle takes 1.77 seconds to reach the maximum height. That is one thing we require, one answer. Okay. Now, we want the velocity when it hits the ground. So let us use the equation of energy, law of conservation of energy. Energy before explosion. Energy before explosion is equal to, or kinetic energy before explosion, half m v square. V is equal to u cos 60, isn't it? The initial velocity, the velocity at that particular point is u cos 60. So half m v square, half m u cos 60 the whole square. That is the kinetic energy of the system before it explodes. So it's equal to half 5, u cos 60 is 10. Half 5 into 10 square. So that will be 500 joules. Newton meter or joules. This is the kinetic energy before explosion. After explosion, kinetic energy after explosion is equal to half mv square. This works out to 250, but it is said that it is doubled. It is given after explosion, the kinetic energy at B is doubled just after the explosion. So the kinetic energy just after explosion, kinetic energy just before explosion is half mv square, and it is the kinetic energy just before explosion is half mv square. So it will work out to half mv square is 250 joules. But after explosion it gets doubled. So just after explosion, kinetic energy at B is equal to, based on this, 2 into 250 is equal to 500. Okay, half mv square, 100 by 250 into 5, 250. Just after the explosion it becomes 500. Now, this gets split up into 2. So what is the kinetic energy based on that? If it is split up into 2, half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. So this kinetic energy after explosion, this 500, that is equal to, for the first mass m1, let it be v1 its velocity, half m2 v2 square. So let us substitute these values. Let us write half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square is equal to 500. See, equation, this is 1, so let me put it as 2. So just kinetic energy just after the explosion is doubled, and that is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. That is one equation. Let us consider the equation of principle of momentum, law of conservation of momentum. Initial momentum that is just before exploding, the momentum is equal to mass mv. Momentum is equal to mv. So that is equal to, this v is nothing but u cos 60, m into 10. Let us write it as vx. This u cos 60 is nothing but the velocity, vx, x component of velocity. So the initial momentum is equal to mv. Okay, then what is the final momentum? This is initial momentum. After collision or after explosion, momentum is equal to m1v1 plus m2v2. So it is equal to 1v1 plus 4v2. So let us equate these two. We can write v1 plus 4v2 is equal to, this is 50. So this is equation 3. So we have an equation connecting v1 and v2. v1 plus 4v2 equals 50. Here 0.5 v1 square plus 2 v2 square is equal to 500. So from 2 and 3 we get v1 and v2. So from the equation 2, let us write, v1 is equal to, from here I can write v1 equals 50 minus 4v2. v1 equals 50 minus 4v2. Now substitute this v1 here. Substituting, so equation 2 you substitute half 1 v1 is 50 minus 4v2. 50 minus 4v2 the whole square plus half m v2 square is equal to 500. So this is an expression in v2 square alone. From that we will get, from this equation, once you reduce it, you can get it as 10 v2 square minus 200 v2 plus 750 is equal to 0. From that you get v2 is equal to minus v plus or minus root of v square minus 4ac by 2a. Minus v plus or minus root of v square minus 4ac by 2a. You get the answer as 5 meter per second using plus sign, and on using another sign we will be getting one answer is 5, the other answer is 15. Using plus sign you may get 15, using minus sign you may get 5 meter per second. So this is the value of v2, that is the velocity with which this one body, 4 kilogram body reaches the ground, is either 5 or 15. Therefore what is v1? Therefore v1 is from here 50 minus 4v2. So we can have two answers. If we substitute 5 minus 20, it can be either 30 meter per second, or if it is 15, 50 minus 60 minus 10 meter per second. So we have got the velocities of the two bodies. Now what is the separation? Separation means v1 minus v2. So the distance or the separation distance between the two mass, separation distance between the two masses x is equal to v1 minus v2 into t. T is from here to here. How much time it takes? Initially we have calculated the time to take on the maximum height we have calculated, and the time taken to maximum height, that will be the same as the time taken to reach the ground. So the time taken is 1.77. So let us calculate it. If you use 30 and 5, it will be 30 minus 5 into 1.77 will give you the value 44.25 meter. Okay, that is the body with mass 1 kilogram. A smaller mass will be having greater velocity, 30 meter per second, and the other one will be having a velocity of 5 meter per second, and the distance between them is 44.25. Suppose it is reverse, the one is having minus 10, the other is having 50, then the distance, the velocity of separation is minus 10 minus 15 into 1.77. Then also it is 25, either it is 25 on this side or it will be in this side 25. That's the meaning. So it is will be getting minus 44.25. So let us accept any one of these values. Numerical value, the distance of separation between the two bodies is 44.25 meters. So this is not an easy question, but it is a very good application level question. So next I will pass on to the question number 18. A block of mass m1 resting on an inclined plane is connected by a string and pulleys to another block of mass m2 as shown in figure. Find the tension in the string and acceleration of the blocks. Assume coefficient of friction between the blocks m1 and the plane to be 0.2. m1 1500 Newton and m2 1000 Newton. Angle of the inclined plane 45 degree. So there is a very direct question. You can easily answer this. Just see the values which are given to you in this question. One body m1 is on an inclined plane and you are given m1 equals 1500 Newton. So it is not the mass, it is actually the weight. It is not mass, the weight W1. Weight of this body is 1500 Newton, because if it is mass, the unit should have been kilogram. So it is 1500 Newton and m2. This is mass m2 and that is 1000 Newton. And theta is equal to 45 degree. This angle is given 45 degree. You are asked to find and coefficient of friction. So this is a rough plane. So the coefficient of friction in this plane, mu is given as 0.2. You are asked to find out the tension in the springs. Find tension T and acceleration of the blocks A for 1 as well as A2. Find the acceleration of the two blocks and the tension in the springs. So let us start. For such kind of examples, we have to consider each bodies separately. So when this body, this is on an inclined plane, this comes down, isn't it? If it comes down, this mass has to go up. It will, along this pulley will move up. One end is fixed, so this string gets loosened and this mass goes up. Let us see if this moves by 1 centimeter or 1 unit. If this undergoes unit displacement, correspondingly, each of these strings have to go. If this comes by 1, each side it has to lift up by only half a centimeter. Since there are strings on either sides, if mass m1, acceleration is A, for m2, the acceleration will be A by 2. That is one important thing. First of all, you have to identify. That is, each of these strings gets moving up by half 1 centimeter. This will come down by 1 centimeter. So the displacement of mass m1 will be twice that of this mass m2. Or we can write acceleration of mass m1, if I take it as A, acceleration of mass m2 will be only half of that. Now let us see the first body. Consider block m1. It is on an inclined plane. This is the block resting on that inclined plane. That inclined plane is having an angle of 45 degrees with horizontal. So this weight of the body will be acting downwards through the center of gravity. Weight W1 is 1500 Newton. Acts vertically downwards through the center of gravity. Now, what are the components of it? One component, say, it can be split up into two. This component and another one along this. So if this angle is 45 degree, angle between the normal to this, that is the vertical line, and normal to this is normal component. So this angle is also will be 45. So the angle between two planes is 45. Angle between the perpendicular to these planes. So perpendicular to horizontal means this vertical line. So perpendicular to this inclined plane means this line. So this angle is also 45 degree. So that this component is W cos 45 and this is W sin 45. Okay. Now this body moves in which direction? Let us assume this body, this is the direction of motion, it moves down. This is direction of motion. So friction force will act in opposite direction, isn't it? Friction will act opposite to the direction of motion. Friction is equal to mu r. So this is the normal reaction. Normal reaction is nothing but W cos 45. So mu W cos 45. Frictional force, we have studied. Frictional force is equal to mu r, where r is equal to here W cos 45. This is r, W cos 45 acting downward. So this is mu W cos 45 opposite direction of motion. So now the string is here. So the tension in the string is acting like that, tension in the string. Okay, so these are the actual forces. Tension in the string, the component of the weight W sin 45, W cos 45, and the frictional force acting along the plane is mu W cos 45. Now, we have studied D'Alembert's principles in previous examples and in the previous video. To analyze such problems, we have to apply the D'Alembert's principle, which is much simple. So if this is the direction of motion, you apply a force to this body, an imaginary force called the inertia force. You apply an inertia force opposite the direction of motion, which is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass is equal to W1 by G into acceleration is an unknown thing. W1 by G into A you apply opposite to the direction of motion. So now this body is in equilibrium. Now we consider the equilibrium along the plane. If you consider the equation of motion, because this body is moving along this direction. So considering the equation of equilibrium parallel to the plane, the force acting upward T plus W1 by G, 1500 by G into A. These are the two forces acting upward. Then mu W cos 45 plus mu is 0.2, W is 1500 cos 45. So 1, 2, 3 forces in the upward direction minus W sin 45 is equal to 0. So consider along with all other forces, apply an inertia force opposite the direction of motion. So that T plus W1 by GA plus mu W cos 45 minus W sin 45 is equal to 0. Let us see whether we can simplify it. We can simplify this term. We can simplify this and this. So we will get T plus 1500 divided by 9.8A is equal to 848.53. So this is equation 1. Simplifying that, we get one equation. Now consider this mass 2. Considering this mass, this is a pulley. The mass W or the weight W2 is given as 1000 Newton. And there are two strings attached to it. So the tension in the string, in this side is T, this side also it is T. There are two strings and we know the acceleration, this is very important, acceleration is equal to A by 2S, it is written here. The acceleration of this mass is only half of the other one because it is attached to two strings. Only when each of these strings moves by half, it gets lifted up by. Only when both of them move by 1 centimeter, it will get lifted up by 1 centimeter. So the acceleration of this, if it moves by 1, each of this gets lifted up only by half a centimeter. So these are the two forces acting on it. The self-weight acting here. Then what is the direction of motion? It gets lifted up. Okay. So the direction of motion is, this is the direction of motion. So together with these external forces, we apply an inertia force. Apply an inertia force opposite. This should be W2 by G, mass into acceleration. Apply an inertia force opposite to the direction of motion. Now it is in equilibrium. This A is only A by 2. Acceleration of the system is only A by 2. So this is very, very important. Mass into acceleration, but this acceleration is only A by 2. Now let us write down the equation. Considering the equation is moving up, so T plus T, 2T minus 1000 by 9.8 into A by 2 is equal to 0. Let us see if we can reduce this equation in a smaller form. 2T 500 by 9.8K is equal to, this goes to the other side, 1000. So there are two equations. T plus 1500 by 9.8K is equal to 848. 2T minus this is equal to. So solving these two equations, solving 1 and 2, we get the answer T is equal to, first of all we get A. How to solve it? Here there is only 2 T. So multiply this with 2. Multiplying this equation with 2, it will become 2T plus 3000 by 9.88 is equal to 848.53 into 2, 1697.06. So multiply this equation throughout with 2, you will get this. Now this minus this, 2 minus 3. Subtracting this, first of all you will get A. We will get A is equal to 1.952 meter per second square. Now substituting this value of A in any of these equations, substitute here for A, you will get T. We will get T is equal to 549. So you can substitute here for A, substitute here so that you will get the value of T. So this is, such type of questions are very common, and the markers, I think it is also a 14 mark question. Similar question was there in the previous university examination also. So connected bodies examples, it is very simple. You consider each body separately. Together with all the external forces, you apply the inertia force, mass into acceleration, opposite to the direction of motion, so that it will be in dynamic equilibrium. That is called the D'Alembert's principle. Then simply consider sigma, sum of the forces is equal to 0. Okay, next I will pass on to module 5, question number 19. A rotor of an electric motor is uniformly accelerated to a speed 1800 rpm from rest for 5 seconds, and then immediately power is switched off and the motor decelerates uniformly. The total time elapsed from the start to stop is 12.5 seconds. Determine the number of revolutions made while acceleration and number of revolutions made while deceleration. Also find the value of deceleration. So it is also a direct question, not much confusing, simply application of formula of constant acceleration. So if motor starts from initial velocity 0 and it gains a speed 1800 rpm. So rpm, if the speed is given in rpm, you have to convert it into angular velocity, 2 pi n by 60. Omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. To convert it into radian per second. So 2 pi n by 60, it works out to 180 8.4 radian per second. So from this initial rest position up to this, it takes 5 seconds. So we can find out what is the acceleration. Acceleration alpha is equal to, or we have the final velocity is equal to initial velocity plus alpha t. V is equal to u plus at, similar to omega 1 equals omega 0 plus alpha t, or alpha is equal to change in velocity divided by time. So we will get it is 188.4 minus 0 divided by the time taken is 5. So we get the answer 37.68 radian per second square. So this is the acceleration. The first phase, the rotor gets accelerated for 5 seconds. Then it is switched off. Once it's switched off, that means it is at that stage its velocity is 188. So initial velocity is 188.4 radians per second. At that stage its switches off or power is off and it comes to rest. Final velocity becomes 0. It comes to stop. And the total time taken from the beginning to it comes to stop is 12.5 seconds. So what about this time? From 188.4 seconds to come to rest. Initially 5 seconds have been completed. So from 12.5 you have to reduce 5 so that the time taken for the velocity to come down from 188 to 0 is 7.5 seconds. So the machine gets decelerated, the motor gets deceleration or retardation. So what about the retardation or the deceleration? Deceleration, or we call it as retardation, is omega 2 minus omega 1 by t. So it is equal to omega 2 final velocity 0 minus initial 188.4 divided by the time 7.5. So it works out to minus 25.12 radian per second square. So this is the answer required. What is the deceleration or retardation? Okay. Now you are asked to find out the number of revolutions made while acceleration and number of revolutions made while deceleration. So let us see number of revolutions. While accelerating, theta revolution is angular displacement. So the angular displacement is theta. Theta is equal to, x is equal to ut plus half a t square. Ut plus half a t square. So in the acceleration stage, initial is 0. So this term is 0 plus half alpha 37.68 into time 5 square half a t square. It works out to 471 radians. 471 radian. So if we divide it by 2 pi, we will get the number of revolutions, 75 revolutions. So in the acceleration time, the displacement, that is from 0 to, it attains the velocity of 1800 rpm, and that time how many revolutions it has undergone. Ut plus half a t square. Initial velocity is 0, so we'll get 471 radians divided by 2 pi, because one circle is 2 pi radians, we'll get 75 revolutions. That is one question. And second is, how many revolutions does it make during this period from 188.4 to come to a stop in 7.5 seconds? How many revolutions does it make? Similarly, we can write here, this is a theta 1, theta 2 while deceleration. Number of revolutions made while deceleration, theta 2 is equal to, similarly, omega, here initial velocity is omega 1 t plus half alpha t square. So omega 1 It starts from 188.4 for a time of 7.5 plus alpha is here deceleration minus 25.12 time 7.5 square. Starts with initial velocity 188.4 omega 1t plus half alpha t square. Alpha is minus 25.12 half t square. That will give you the value 706.5 radians divided by 2 pi. So you get this theta 2 as 112.5 revolutions. So this is also a direct question which carries 14 marks. So it's direct application of formula only. Next, module 5, question number 20A. I am not going to repeat it. It is already discussed in the previous video. So I will give you the link in the description box below. You can refer to that previous video for answering question 20A. Now I'll deal with 20B. 20B. A particle moving with simple harmonic motion has velocities 8 meter per second and 4 meter per second when at the distance of 1 meter and 2 meter from mean position. Determine the amplitude, period, maximum velocity and maximum acceleration of the particle. This is also a very simple example having 9 marks. A direct question. So 20B. Simple harmonic motion. So a particle having velocity v is equal to 8 meter per second. The velocity is 8 meter per second when it is 1 meter from the mean position, when x is equal to 1 meter. So if you consider, say, a simple harmonic motion as a circular motion, a circle, this is the mean position. When it is 1 meter from here, when x is equal to 1 meter, it has a velocity which is 8. And when it is 2 meter, when it is 2 meter from here, it has a velocity 4 meter per second. These are the two data given to us, and you are asked to find out the amplitude. Amplitude is nothing but this is the amplitude, the maximum displacement, or this maximum displacement radius of the circle. So you are asked to find one amplitude R. Then second is you have to find out the period T, and the third one maximum velocity and maximum acceleration. Everything is direct. So let us see what is the expression for V. V is equal to omega in the root of r square minus x square. If you know this expression, we can solve this. Velocity at any instant is omega in the root of r square minus x square, where omega is the angular velocity of motion. Omega is the angular velocity. R is the amplitude. X is the distance at any instant. So let us substitute for the first case. X is equal to, let us square both sides. I am squaring. 8 square is equal to omega squared into r square minus 1 square. 1 square is 1. Okay. The second case, V, 4. 4 square is equal to omega square into r square minus 2 square. So we have the two equations. 1 by 2. Do 1 by 2. So 8 square by 4 square, 64 by 16. 8 square by 4 square is 4. Or I write it like 8 square by 4 square is equal to this omega square gets cancelled. R square minus 1 divided by r square minus 4, or r square minus 1 divided by r square minus 4 is equal to 64 by 4. r square minus 1 divided by r square minus 4 is equal to 4. Then solve it. We'll get 4r square minus 16 is equal to r square minus 1, or 3r square is equal to 15. R square is equal to 5, or r is equal to root 5, 2.24 meter. So we have got the amplitude, 2.24 meter. Now coming to time period, once we get r from this equation, say 8 square is equal to omega square into r square minus 1. Substitute r here, substitute for r in 1. From equation 1, 8 square is equal to omega square into 2.24 square minus 1. So from that we get omega. Omega, the angular velocity, you will get it as 4 radians per second. From this it is 5 minus 1, 4. So you will get omega square here is equal to 16. So we will get omega is equal to 4 radians per second. Once we get omega, we can get the period. Omega angular velocity into time is equal to 2 pi radians, or t, the time period, is equal to 2 pi by omega. So 2 pi divided by 4, this work out to 1.57 seconds. So the second question is answered. The first question is answered. Then what is the maximum velocity in this expression? Velocity maximum, x should be 0. So V max is equal to omega r. So that is equal to 4 into 2.24. V is equal to omega r, which is 8.94 meter per second. And maximum acceleration is omega squared r. Omega square is 4 square into r. It gives 35.84 meter per second square. So always try to answer the questions from simple harmonic motion, which is very, very simple. So you can get 9 marks for this particular question. The previous question was 5 marks. The 5 mark question is repeatedly asked in both the question papers. For that we have to use only one term, the equation omega. The frequency omega is equal to root of k by m. The frequency of vibration omega is equal to root of k by m. If you know that expression, you can solve that 5 mark question. So then with that we finish the answering of all the questions in module 4 and 5 in question paper December 2019. Thank you.